Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Food Sovereignty Symposium Sampler. We're going to be meeting virtually for the next 2 days. We've got a great agenda. Unfortunately, we had to postpone the in-person, but we're going to be meeting in May of 2022. Everybody. Welcome to the Food Sovereignty Symposium Sampler. We're going to be meeting virtually for the next 2 days. We've got a great agenda. So I'm going to turn it over to Marty Reinhardt, and Marty's going to give a short intro and introduce Mary Moose.
Bonjour, no gijap everybody. Wabnang meshe kiak kiak dijna kaz, bawating don jaba, ajajak and dodam, nishnabe ojibwe and ao. My name is Marty Reinhardt. My family, we're from Bawating, Garden River First Nation, and Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians on the U.S. side of the border. My family is Crane Clan, and I am honored to introduce Anishinaabe elder, first speaker and author and teacher, Mary Moose, who is going to give us a prayer, a blessing for our conference this morning. And if you're able to, if you could stand, I know some of you guys are probably in a place where you can't stand, but if you could, then we'll stand up for this prayer. And miigwech, Mary, for doing the prayer for us this morning.
Yeah, miigwech. Bonjour. Gusto minua ki tasataman sa nongkom. O sa kaisa tigato ite sa uno sa michaman kata si kamato ite kanakaskato at sa. Ego tas o sa pagkasa na makasya mo nito sa. O sa nawinan na sa tafnat no na semana sa. Ego tas minua. Yoy ki kawin na ki. Wewe sa tafnang sa tafnat sa semana sa. Minua tas wait wabanong manito kasakayawat. Winasa tafnat sa seman. Winasa pesa kun wait sa wanong sa. Winasa tafnat sa semana sa. Winasa pesa kun wait nakapihan ng kayawat manito kasa. Winasa tafnat sa seman. Minuatas wait kiwat ng kayawat manito kasa. Winasa tafnat sa semana sa. Egutas pastenuat sa nuwe manito kasa. May sa pagkak na kisibetis na kanuat sa manito kasa. O sa tibeto tafnat sa semana sa. Uwetas wete kaisa tsagyat nung kumisa. Kaisa nakaskatwat sa. Isa pagkasa naman sa kanakego minusya sa kaisa tsagyat sa. Kanakego chete menoyama kakisa chete kaskatuan kaisa tsagyat sa. Pinis wete chete nakaskat na nung sa minuatinipin sa kaisa katat sa. O isa akanawa chete minusya sa chete kaskatuan sa chete kiya. Chete kaskatuan sa micha mo chete minuskakayang yan michang sa nikan sa. May isa pagkasa na makaman ito kasi chiswitawat na sinapin na sa nung kumisa. Ego tas kaya o isa kanistakis tawat sa micha mo sa minuasa at si kuning minuasa at minuayawat at si minuparinig akanakinistakis sa kanuan sa. May isa pagkasa na makaman na sinapin sa Eka kay coach sa siyang sa mati siyang sa kanapo kay coach mo no sa mati suman kay chete tebe beto at kanuma kayo at sa kanagaskato at sa chete mo no sa mga kanake ko may sa pagasan mo ko manito kasanong komisa may tas minik kay kitiyan sa akin sa program chete mo no sa nung kumakayo at sa kanagaskato at sa may sa pagasan mo sa Oy kasi manito kaya tiso ito ka kaya nga sa nung kumagkakagigitian o sa kana po kumagayawa sa mingko sa sentehit minuwa kakagigitian sa mingko sa senten tinamag manito kasi minuwa kayo ito ka kaya nga sa kaso na mo ko yung kaya may sa minikikitian sa mingko sa sentenak manito kasi sa wani masinan mingko.
Oh, miigwech, Mary.
Miigwech kay Kinoa.
We really appreciate Mary and her family for having patience with us as we try to do things in a good way, but also try to do it in a virtual way so as to be safe during this COVID spike. So Mary's on her in traveling right now, as you can see, and her family's supporting her, helping us do this opening in a good way. So we really appreciate it, and be safe, guys, on your travels.
Yeah, congrats.
So I wanted to just say a few words about, why it is that I asked Mary to give that opening prayer. We all in the food sovereignty movement, the Indigenous food sovereignty movement, we look around and we see these elders out there who carry this traditional knowledge. And some of us, we may have, scientific knowledge or may have some experiential knowledge as some of the youngsters in this movement. But we really look to our elders like Mary, who carry that very special knowledge. And we appreciate it when they are able to share it with us. And we have to be very respectful in how we approach asking for that knowledge, because it is a special knowledge. And, if we ask for it in the wrong way, if we share it in the wrong way, it can have significant damage on our communities and future generations. So we have to be careful. We have to treat it as it is sacred. And so I just wanted to say that, again, miigwech, it's very important to recognize these things. So I'm going to offer a song for us as we get going. Again, make us feel good. This song here, it's about putting Sema on the fire, offering our prayers. Whoa, miigwech.
Congrats.
All right, Dan, if you're on, we'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Marty. That was great. And thank you, Mary, as well. So I'm going to just share my screen and we're going to take a quick look at our agenda. So we're going to have some breaks throughout the day. And during most of those breaks, we're going to be sharing some content from past events. And all of this content that we're going to be sharing is on a platform called Mighty Networks. It's the Intertribal Agriculture Council's e-learning platform. You can join that network if you just enter Mighty Networks into your web browser and then search for the Intertribal Agriculture Council. It should come right up. But we're going to be playing some of the past recordings of our past Great Lakes Intertribal Food Summits, and then also from last year's virtual Intertribal Food Summit. There's a lot of other great resources on there, and we've got really dozens of recordings from past events. So that's what we're going to be doing in some of the breaks. But just to quickly run through our schedule here, Marty, would you want to give a brief background on what you and Mayhi are going to be talking about at 9:30 Eastern?
Yeah, so May and I will be opening up the presentations about 9:30 this morning. And May has done some really cool work as far as learning from the land and in the work that she does there with Virginia Tech. And of course, she has a number of titles that she carries with her, and many of which have to do with human relations with the land, and of course with the creatures that we know, the spirit beings that we know as food. I'll be talking along after May does about the work we did with the Decolonizing Diet Project, and also the study I did on treaty food provisions. So that'll be how we start the day. I just wanted to say a few words too about the symposium in general. Just give you an idea about why it is that we're doing this virtual sampler today, but where it actually comes from. We had planned this really cool 3-day event here in Northern Michigan, both at the Keweenaw Indian community and here at Kitche Namebene Zebing, or the Marquette area. And we're going to still do that. We're going to talk more about that, the planning for next May. But we had to postpone that due to COVID. So, this is a sampler today. But, the reason why we're holding it up here is because of the previous symposia that Intertribal Agricultural Council has sponsored. Dan has provided leadership on, and I attended a few of those and presented at one of the earliest ones. And I said, geez, this is something that we need to bring up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's going to be good for our communities, and we want to bring these folks in who are doing this kind of work into our community. And so it's been a few years in the planning. Dan and I have been talking about it for a while. And so we were really excited to get a group of us together, including Scott Herron, Val Gagno, Abby Palmer, and myself, with Dan and others who have really shown a lot of support for the planning for this leading up to this today here. And we're going to keep that energy going. And we hope that everybody does stick around for the next couple of days for this virtual sampler, but also that you guys come back next May for on-site or hybrid, both on-site and online, and join us for those 3 days. I think it's May 21st to the 23rd that we are looking at. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. Thank you much.
Thank you, Marty. For the remainder of today, we've got an excellent session from that we're actually going to be replaying from the Moses Organic Farming Conference. We had an indigenous seed to table with, we had 3 native producers, and then we had 3 chefs that joined us, including Elena Terry, Sean Sherman, who are going to be joining us later on in our program for this virtual event as well. So that is at 11 o'clock Eastern, and then we've got lunch from 12 to 1. And remember, all these times are Eastern. Probably everybody knows, if you're not in Eastern time, we're getting started, waking up pretty early today. Then this afternoon, we've got Heather Dawn Thompson is USDA's Director of the Office of Tribal Relations. She's going to be giving an overview and an update of some of what's going on at USDA. And then we're going to be joined by Beth Nelson. Beth is with the North Central Region SARE. That's one of the USDA programs. And if you're looking for, I get a lot of questions from people of what funding opportunities are out there, what support is there, especially if you're an individual. Well, USDA SARE is one of the only grants that USDA has that is available to individuals. There's a farmer rancher grant that's due typically in December every year. And so Beth is going to talk a little bit about that and some of the other funding opportunities that they have that can help to advance Indigenous food sovereignty. We've got Bruce Savage as the vice chairman of the Fond du Lac Band and a tribal producer himself. Bruce is going to be joining us to talk a little bit about his experience in using a USDA farm loan to buy his maple sugar operation. And then we're also going to have Jen Falk is on the next session, but Jen is going to talk about her experience of using USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service. They have a program, it's called EQIP, it stands for Environmental Quality Incentives Program. She is going to be talking about using that to access funding to build a high tunnel, a big greenhouse, and then how they've also used that funding to put together a grazing plan and to build fencing at their farm at Oneida. As I mentioned, then Jen will be joining us for the next session. We've got going to have a nice presentation on some of the work going on at Menominee. Although Jen is Oneida, she works at Menominee for the Department of Ag and Food Systems. Her and Gary Besop are going to be talking about how they're putting a tribal food code together and really developing an ag department to help to support more individuals and overall support the community of producing more food and keeping it right there within the community. I work very close with them, so I know that part of what they're going to be talking about is using USDA for the food distribution program. There's a pilot authority from the last Farm Bill that allows tribes to purchase food directly. So actually Bruce Savage is going to be providing some wild rice for that effort. There's fish from Red Cliff that's coming in, and then Oneida corn, buffalo, and grass-fed cattle are all going to be coming into that food distribution program. And connected effort, there's a tribal elder food box that is going out 900 boxes every other week to Oneida, Menominee, and Red Cliff. And basically it's like a CSA. And every other week, the elders can go and pick up those CSA boxes. And so Jen and Gary are going to talk about that as well, as part of the overall effort to build up the Department of Agriculture and to help to bring more support to food producers and to the community. Val, would you be willing to talk about what we have for the second day for our program?
Sure, Dan. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day one of our Food Sovereignty Symposium Sampler. And I'll share a little bit about what we have on the agenda for tomorrow. For those of you in different time zones, maybe our 9 o'clock start tomorrow will be a little bit easier. So we will have an opening prayer from Frank Adewagashik and an opening song by our Scott Heron. We have several important themes for tomorrow, and we're going to start out with bridging traditional and scientific ways of knowing to restore land and life. And that will be a presentation and panel by many who are involved in a partnership project at the University of Michigan. And we have the same well-being breaks throughout the day, where content will be streamed from Mighty Networks from the Intertribal Ad Council. Sorry about that. And then following later on in the morning, we have another panel by a group from the University of Arkansas School of Law and their Indigenous Food and Agricultural Initiative. And tomorrow afternoon, after our lunch break, we have a tour by Sean Sherman and his new restaurant. That should be very interesting. Looking forward to that. In the afternoon, we have some part two of something that starts today from the seed to table, and Marty will facilitate some discussion having to do with that content. And then later on in the afternoon, we have a great group that many of them are my teachers about Manuman, and we'll have a panel about traditional processing and also the ways that that knowledge is shared with others. Roger Leben, Greg Johnson, Courtney Collier, and Scott. And then later on in the day, early evening, we have our keynote speaker by Robin Wall Kimmerer. We were very fortunate to be able to keep Dr. Kimmerer on our agenda. And following her talk, we will facilitate some Q&A with our attendees, myself and Rachel Presley. And then finally, just a brief and also yet important closing with some closing words and bringing back our song and having some updates about our upcoming gathering in May. Yeah, I think I would just like to take a moment also to acknowledge all of our planners. We do have a leadership team, but there is no way we could have done all of this without our planning committees. And they are really located across the landscape, work for many different institutions, and acknowledge that we are also, many of us, working within and on traditional and contemporary homelands of the Anishinaabe people. And so in all the work that we're doing, really honoring that as well. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Val. Now I'm just gonna, this Mighty Networks that we've talked about, I'm gonna just share my screen and show what this platform looks like. So this is the traditional foods and arts workshop, and you can see all these different sessions that we have on here. These are from the past Great Lakes Intertribal Food Summits, and you can just click on it, and then there's videos, and a lot of the sessions will have some text as well. We've got other workshops on this platform that go into more detail on different topics, but for all of these recordings, this is just a great library of information, and it's no cost to join it. You do need to request to join, but we'll be keeping an eye on those requests throughout the day and approving people if you want to go on and look for yourself. And then all of these recordings from today will be available on this platform in the next couple of days. We're going to try to be getting them up posted as quickly as we can. I am going to navigate now to the virtual Intertribal Food Summit that we hosted last year. But in the meantime, you can get a little bit of a sampling and a glimpse of some of what is on here. This virtual Intertribal Food Summit we hosted last June, right, still kind of in the midst of the first wave of the pandemic. And we had 13 different live sessions. So one of them was a plant walk with Linda Black Elk. And we had producer roundtable. We had Sean Sherman joined us for that event. But you can see all of those live sessions. But then we also had almost 50 recorded sessions. So Making Hominy with George and Sid Martin was one of those recordings. And you can see here, and we had 4 tracks of the traditional food and tools, agricultural production and policy, the food and culinary, a bunch of demonstrations from chefs, and then we had producer profiles as well. So again, this is the virtual Intertribal Food Summit 2020, and this is one of several workshops that we have available on Mighty Networks. And when you first go to the page, your view may be a little bit different than this, but this is what it looks like. And you've got tabs on the left. You can just click on those tabs and then click on each one of the workshops that you would want to look at. So with that, I'm going to stop my screen share. And I do want to just echo the welcome from both Marty and Val. We really appreciate everybody joining us today, and we're going to have a great agenda. If you happen to miss anything, don't worry. It is being recorded. We're live streaming on Facebook now, so you can go and check out the live stream there, or you can go to the Mighty Networks and check it out later. Abby, would you want to go ahead and play one of the sessions from Mighty Networks?
The brain solution out. Now this part right here, I've learned to do several times, even up to a dozen times, to ensure that the